Hello everyone, my name is Carlos Fambuena and I am ESR11. First of all, I would like to say that I'm very glad to be part of the PersonalizeAF project, one of the biggest and more diverse consortium studying atrial fibrillation worldwide. In the PersonalizeAF project participate some of the most important universities along Europe, and also very high-standing companies trying to provide technological solutions to atrial fibrillation. But behind all these high-quality institutions, we have also an amazing team of very qualified people, going from the advisory team, supervisors, co-supervisors, and of course ESRs, that it's been a pleasure to work with. Unfortunately, as you may notice, I only had a chance to meet most of these people online, and I hope this situation changes really soon. But now let's talk a little bit about atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation is the most common arrhythmia in the world. It is estimated that 6 million people have any sort of atrial fibrillation in Europe, and the perspectives for the future are not very optimistic. For example, it is also estimated that 12.1 million people will have atrial fibrillation in the United States in the year 2030. Atrial fibrillation has also been linked to a higher risk to having a stroke, heart failure, and also an impaired life quality. More than 60% of patients having atrial fibrillation have any sort of limitation in their daily life because of this disease. Okay, now that we know that atrial fibrillation is a quite prevalent and serious disease, we can ask ourselves, how is atrial fibrillation managed nowadays? Well, there are different strategies. The first one is the use of drugs, which can be classified into main groups regarding their final objective. The first one is rate control drugs, and the second one rhythm control drugs. We also have cardioversion, which is a procedure performed in hospitals that consists in providing an electrical shock to the cardiac tissue in order to restore the sinus rhythm from a fibrillatory episode. And finally, we have ablation, which is a surgical procedure in which an electrophysiologist introduces a catheter into the vascular system of the patient with the aim of reaching the heart. Once this catheter is inside the heart, the electrophysiologist performs an electrical map of the atria. And based on this map, the electrophysiologist decides what areas of the atria he should burn and isolate electrically in order to end the fibrillation. However, in spite of the wide range of different treatments we have available, none of them is perfect, and more importantly, none of them is being applied in a personalized way, or at least taking into account personalized electrophysiological biomarkers of the patient. This is where the PersonalizeAF project comes into play. We will provide different strategies in order to personalize the treatment for the patients. But how does my project fit into all this? Well, the title of my project is Post-Processing of ECGI or Electrocardiographical Imaging to detect atrial fibrillation drivers. The ECGI is an image modality that maps the electrical activity of the atria in a non-invasive way. Here we have an animation of what I mean by that. In the animation, we have encoded using colors different voltage values in different regions of the atria. We can also see the evolution of these voltage values or colors through time. This type of maps have two main advantages over the traditional mapping techniques performed in the EP lab. First of all, they're non-invasive, and secondly, they provide simultaneous information in the whole atria. Regarding the clinical uses, these maps could be used to stratify patients and provide them different treatments based on the electrical propagation patterns recorded in their atria. And secondly, they can be used to guide ablation. Having this global information of the electrical activity in only one map can help electrophysiologists to perform ablation with more efficacy and efficiency. Okay, now that you know a little bit more about atrial fibrillation and ECGI, I hope that you can understand the main objectives of my project. The first one will be to develop automatic algorithms to detect the underlying mechanisms of atrial fibrillation episodes using ECGI maps. On the other hand, I will have to validate ECGI and all the developed algorithms. I will be using simulation, but most importantly, I will use also data coming from animal models and atrial fibrillation patients. I hope this talk has been interesting for you guys, and here I leave my social media in case you have any doubt. Thank you very much for your attention.